You climb porch steps nightly, no thought. But here's what nobody tells you. It's not the climbing that gets you. When's the last time you tested if you can control your weight coming back down? Stick around, you'll know how to test this. I'm Atlas Reed, and this is Still Standing After 60. Subscribe, you belong here. Point 1. You've probably walked past a set of stairs today without a single thought about it. 2 flights, no railing, no hesitation. That not thinking about it is the exact thing that quietly disappears first, years before anyone would ever call you unsteady. I watched that disappearing act happen to a man who'd been stronger than most men his entire life. He didn't lose his footing on a staircase. He lost it reaching for a towel rail that wasn't there. Proof that this was never really about stairs specifically. It's about a kind of leg strength almost nobody trains on purpose. There's research behind every part of this, so nobody has to take it on faith. Researchers use a simple test to measure exactly that strength. How many times you can stand up from a chair, no hands, in 30 seconds. For a man in his 60s or 70s, that number typically lands somewhere between 12 and 19 reps. Fall below that range, and the same leg power that gets you up a flight of stairs starts going quiet before you ever notice it's gone. Think of it like a car battery that starts the engine every morning right up until the one cold morning it doesn't. The failure was never sudden. It just finally became visible, and by the time it's visible, most men have already quietly rerouted their whole life around it without ever calling it that. Parking closer, avoiding the stairs at the mall, letting someone else carry the bags up from the car. Nobody announces that decision out loud. It just happens, one small avoidance at a time, until avoiding has quietly become the whole strategy. So if the number of chair stands you can do in 30 seconds says something about your stairs, what's actually happening inside the muscle that makes that number drop in the first place? Point 2, it's not that the muscle disappears overnight. It's that most men are losing it on a schedule nobody ever told them about. Muscle mass declines somewhere between 3 and 8% per decade after your peak years. And that rate doesn't stay flat. It accelerates again after 60. That's not fat quietly replacing muscle. That's the actual engine getting smaller every single year, whether or not you feel it yet. Here's the test I'd put this through. If I told you this loss happens quietly enough that you won't notice until a staircase or a curb suddenly feels different, and that most men never get checked for it until after that moment happens, is that worth knowing before it costs you something, or after? Picture 2 men, same age, same watch, same car in the driveway. One of them still takes the stairs 2 at a time without thinking. The other started taking the elevator just because it's faster. Nothing on the outside tells you which one is which. Same haircut, same handshake, same easy laugh at the same barbecue. Only the legs know. And the legs don't send a warning text before they make the switch official. Balance doesn't fail all at once. It fails one system at a time, quietly. And the same is true of leg strength specifically. It's not the muscle you lose overnight at 70 that costs a man his stairs. It's the 3 to 8% per decade nobody flagged, compounding quietly since his 50s. So what happens when that quiet decline finally meets an actual staircase? And what's the one specific thing almost nobody trains on purpose to prevent it? Point 3. Here's where it gets specific, because work your legs more isn't an answer. It's a shrug. Stairs demand something most gym routines never touch directly, the ability to control your weight going down, not just push it going up. Descending is where quad control fails first, and it's the direction most men never train at all. They'll do squats, they'll do leg presses, and still feel shaky halfway down a staircase, because going down uses the muscle in a completely different way than going up does, which is exactly the leg power and controlled descent sequencing that Still Standing After 60, the complete independent system, walks through. It's linked in the description below. If you're watching this on a TV right now, there's a QR code on screen. Grab your phone and scan it. And once that sequencing clicks, the next question isn't whether you can climb the stairs. It's whether you can trust the version of you that's coming back down them. Point 4. Here's what rarely gets said out loud. Coming down a staircase puts roughly 3 times the strain on your balance and control that climbing it does. The real danger was never the way up. It's the knee that quietly stopped controlling the descent months or years earlier, meeting momentum on the way down. This is the same eccentric control a physical therapist checks first after a fall, and it's seldom checked before one. There's one specific weakness in that lowering phase that most home routines completely ignore. And it's not because it's complicated. It's because nobody ever pointed a camera at it and said, test this. Physical therapists check it constantly, after the fact, in a clinic, with a gait belt on and a chart already open. What rarely happens is a man checking it for himself on an ordinary Tuesday, before there's ever a reason to. So let's point the camera at it right now. Wherever you're sitting, stand up in front of your chair. No hands. Time yourself for 30 seconds and count how many times you can sit all the way down and stand back up, arms crossed over your chest. Do it right now. Pause the video if you need to. If that number came in under 12, that's not a diagnosis. It's a data point, and it belongs to you, not to a stranger on a chart. Point 5. Whatever number you just got, here's what it actually means. The stairs you walk past without thinking today are being paid for right now by whether the eccentric control in your knees and hips is being trained on purpose or just hoping to hold up by accident. Climbing was never the hard part. Almost every man in his 60s can still push himself up a step. It's the coming down, the controlled lowering, rep after rep, day after day, that separates the man who's still taking the stairs at 80 without a second thought from the man who started taking the elevator just because it's faster, a full decade earlier than he had to. The chair stand test you just ran isn't a school grade. It's a mirror. And what it reflects isn't fitness. It's whether the man in that mirror still trusts his own legs to make the decision, instead of a railing making it for him. Two men can have the same number of birthdays behind them. One of them trained the lowering phase on purpose, deliberately, on a schedule, and the stairs simply stopped being a topic. The other one didn't, and slowly, without ever deciding to, started narrating his own limitations out loud. I take it slow on stairs now, said the way men say things they've made peace with instead of things they've fixed. That sentence is optional. It was always optional. That's the real difference between a man who happens to still be able to do stairs and a man who has made sure he always will. You walked past a set of stairs today without a single thought. And that's not something to take for granted. It's something to protect on purpose, which is exactly why the controlled descent work we touched on today is one full section inside still standing after 60, the complete independence system. It walks you through the exact leg strength and stair control sequencing most routines skip entirely. So climbing and descending both stop being something you have to think about. It's linked in the description below. And if you're watching on a TV, scan the QR code on screen now. The 3 to 8% per decade doesn't pause while you decide. Every year this waits is a year that number gets a little harder to close. If this is the kind of training intelligence you want every week, subscribe. We put out videos weekly, and every one is built for men serious about staying independent. I'm Atlas Reed. Keep doing the work.